Hey kids, it's Jurassic James and Jurassic James looking at Guaibasaurus. So this guy was a big surprise, and I honestly think outside of maybe if I go to a museum or a toy store in Argentina, I don't think you would get a toy like this in America. It's just a very, very rare species. Not much is known about it, so I'll just get started with the official opening. There is only this one example, of course, as I just said. So this animal lived in late Triassic, about 225 million years ago, in the Cedar Formation in Argentina. So I've talked about Argentina before. I've talked about the third piece of plastic there. There we go. And so the idea here is I've talked about Triassic, like Herrerasaurus. I'm looking right now. Herrerasaurus, the other kind of Archosaurus, those things in South America. This guy is like the formation right above that. So the first thing to point out is that looking at it, it's the name. Oh yes, of course. This is the epic evolution, and okay, yeah. So Guaibasaurus pretty much is named after the region it's found in. It's Guaibasaurus. So again, if you want to be a paleontologist, you got to understand geography, where stuff is. So again, South America, Argentina, and also you understand like historical human events too. Those also affect these names and localities. So first of all, I want to point out when it was first. Oh, as far as its features go, there's its DNA code. And I'm sure it does some kind of, yeah. Oh, like the bigger guys. So you do that and it bites, which is pretty neat for the size figure. Kind of cool. I like it a lot. And so the first thing, and of course the arms can go out like this. They go forward like that. They, okay. Oh, because the legs are a part of the gimmick, they click together. So again, that's kind of I wouldn't do that if I were you. And so, first and foremost, I want to point out this, again, the area it lives in. There are other animals known from the area. Other Herrerasaur-like animals, other prosauropods, or what we formerly call prosauropods. And so the big thing with this that I want you to take away from it, this first, it's probably an omnivorous animal. I say probably because they did not find a skull. They found the first skeleton, it was missing the head and like the right leg and all that and other parts. But they realized later on that other specimen they had were I say they as paleontologists realized this, that those are probably the same grouping. And so the skull looks really neat, looks really cool, but it's entirely made up in that sense. I mean, I imagine it has 2 eyes and 2 nostrils, but the idea is that it's speculation based on the family tree. And so normally I always tell you, oh, we shouldn't look at these animals as where they fit in evolution. We should just appreciate them in our own environment. But with this guy, you kind of have to do that because it's quite a story. So first and foremost, Dinosauria. We now know, or now believe, or is now written or published, that Dinosauria have a common ancestor. And so when I was a boy, we heard that there were these, the 2 major groups were Ornistia, Sauristia. So Ornistia means bird-hipped dinosaurs. So that includes all of these guys. So ironically enough, the bird-hipped dinosaurs all have beaks to some degree, and birds do not come from this group. So that's kind of annoying for most of my students. So the subgroups are, of course, one is the first I'll mention is Theropod, meaning shield bearers. That is your Stegosaurus, your Ankylosaurus. If you're wondering, this is a 2019 Safari. This is there's no year, or it's printed really weird. It's Battan. It's a company, Battan. It's a company I've seen from Target. So it's a Euplocephalus. This is a, let's see, Battan as well. Parasaurolophus, of course. And a Iguanodon, which is a 2016 Safari. We have a Pachycephalosaurus, which is a 2020 Safari. And this is a Styracosaurus, which is a 2019 Safari. So again, Theropod include the shield bearers. That's the Stegosaurus and the Ankylosaurs. Ornithropoda include the hadrosaur duckbills and the iguanodonts. And then Marginocephala, meaning Theropod means shield bearers. Ornithropod means bird feet. So if you look at their footprints, they look kind of like bird. Not as much as theropod predators, but enough. And the Marginocephala, which means edge of the head, includes the Pachycephalosaurs and the Ceratopsians, the horned dinosaurs. So they all have these frills and things in the back of their head. So these collectively are known as the Ornischians, the bird-hipped dinosaurs, right? Which means that these guys hold closer ancestry than these guys, right? But they hold closer ancestry than the other groups. So that's Ornistia. The other side is called Sauristia, the lizard-hipped dinosaurs. So the most famous of those groups are the theropods, or predator dinosaurs mainly. This is a Spletosaurus from 2021, so Safari. This is an Allosaurus from Mojo, and I can't see the year. It's built into the scale, so you can't really see it. But it's a Mojo Allosaurus. I think it's the only one they have out there. So these are theropods, the predator dinosaurs. And the last group we're going to go, including these two, and this Coelophysis from, I believe, Safari 2017. And the last group, of course, are the sauropodomorphs. Sauropodomorphs are the long-necked dinosaurs, and that includes the Camarasaurus 2019, which is company Safari, and the Diplodocus 2017 Safari. Yes. And so what's going on here is, within sauropod, there's many sauropodomorph, meaning lizard. Sauropod means lizard foot. A morph means form. And so it's not just these two big guys, it's these guys too. But the two major branches in sauropods that you should be kind of familiar with are the Diplodocid group, including Diplodocus itself, the Apatosaurus, the return of Brontosaurus. The Camarasaurus group are called Macronaria, meaning big nose. The eyes are right here, and the nose hole is like right in the front. And that includes the Brachiosaurus, the Giraffatitan, and later on the Titanosaurus, all the big sauropods in South America. So those are the sauropodomorphs that you're more familiar with. A group, when I was a kid, they called prosauropods. I think I still mentioned to my website. But prosauropods were thought to be guys like Plateosaurus here from Europe. This is who are you from? Collect A 2011. And the Jurassic World Mesospondylus. This is a guy here from Africa, or Plateosaurus from Europe. And so these were initially referred to as prosauropods because they play in the major leagues. Now, you deserve better than that. These are called prosauropods because proving first, the thought was that they were the ancestors to true sauropods. And now it's believed, based on anatomical study, that these guys are just this kind of a sister group. And some of their relatives may have become sauropods, but they themselves are their own thing, right? So now we hear the term sauropodomorph in general. So prosauropods kind of out, sauropodomorph, anything in the long necky group. Which brings me to my previous video, Eoraptor, which, this is a weird figure, but the thing is, Eoraptor, when I was a boy, Eoraptor was considered, if not the earliest dinosaur, at least an early theropod. Now it's considered a sauropodomorph, because in South America in particular, they're finding a lot of these animals that if you were to look at it, the average person would say that's a meat-eating dinosaur, right? But the thing is, the reason it's so important to understand this is, just like I mentioned, that these guys are close, like this is close related to this one, that one here, but they share an ancestor. These guys close related, but they all share an ancestor. Same thing applies here. And so the idea is that, the sauropodomorphs are closer together than the theropods, but the theropods and sauropodomorphs are closer together than these guys. And of course, there's a great common ancestor, which was thought to be this guy, but not anymore. The Jurassic World Eoraptor came out the same wave as this. And so this guy initially was thought to be a very, very early theropod, which, based on the few bones they have, the few parts they have of the torso, the arms, there's no feet, there's no skull, and parts of the tail. And so the idea here is it has enough to look like a sauropod, but we now know with the other, there's one called Saturnalia, which is, there's no toy of that one. But this guy is thought to be more close to that one. And so initially, Rodolfo Correa, said that this guy was a theropod. But recent discoveries say actually it's more like the other one, so it's more of a sauropod. So regardless of anything, it is a Saurischian. It's not an Ornithischian dinosaur. It is a Saurischian. But where it breaks between these two groups is still a question. And I know when you look at this Camarasaurus and this Allosaurus, you're like, how can you not tell them apart? They're what we call derived. So the example I'm giving you kind of here is like my hand. If you have all these different groups, there's common ancestry in the palm, basically, right? And so what's going on here is that, this animal has adapted to being a large elephantine reptile to eat large swaths of plants. This guy is a large predator with 3-fingered claws for ripping and tearing. But their ancestors were closer together, and they would have been something kind of like this. So right now, officially, it leans on the sauropodomorph side. But again, the founder name of the animal said it's more of a theropod. So in my website, I'm literally trying to, there'll be a link by the time you see this, but I'm literally trying to figure out, well, which side should I put it on? Because, it's like people are saying different things. And what makes this toy so special to me is that it allows me to tell these stories. When I teach normally, it is very much like, here's T-Rex, here's Allosaurus, here's Stegosaurus, here's their environment. I don't need to spend time talking about the debates of paleontology. I mean, yes, occasionally, oh, how does it eat, where does it eat kind of thing. But the level of how do we define this animal? Is it a member of one family or the other? Is it a carnivore or herbivore? We think omnivore. That's stuff that's really interesting to me because that's, to me, the frontier of paleontology. And what I mean by that, not as much as research methods, but what I mean by that is there are things like therizinosaurs, those big guys, the large claws that are theropods, but they eat plants or not omnivores. Those guys were a big mystery when I was a kid. Like, they didn't have a lot of the animals. They weren't sure they fit in. They have features seen in other groups. And now we know, or at least we think we know, that yeah, it's a theropod. It's a vegan branch of the theropod family tree. Well, with this guy here, we're saying, well, here's something we're not quite sure of. We're debating where it goes. So I'd imagine in 10 years, in 20 years, I will be like, oh yeah, now we know it's this. Because I've seen that in my lifetime. I've seen times where a new discovery, a new connection, a new kind of scanning ability comes along and they find new data and go, yeah, here's what this is. And so that's why it's so exciting to me. Now, as far as the animal goes itself, the environment is found in there are other animals. There's, little early mammal things. There are archosaurs, but none of those guys are in toys. So again, just think late Triassic fauna. Whatever you've seen, I've mentioned before in many videos, that's who lives with it. But again, its major claim of fame is how it fits into a tree. With that being said, I'll see you guys later, and thank you for tuning in. Please comment, subscribe, and all the things below. I have 400 subscribers. I really appreciate that. I know in YouTube world not a lot, but I appreciate that people actually care enough to learn about this stuff on this level. So, because if no one tuned in, I still do this, but I'm happy you do. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.